I felt like nobody understands me. Nobody knows what this feels like. Nobody knows what I'm going through. And it was a lie. And I hope that if you are feeling that way today, if you are noticing those feelings inside of yourself, that you feel that you're alone and that nobody understands you, trust that you are not alone. Welcome to Empowered Now. I'm Colette Kati. Here we talk about real confidence, the kind that comes from trusting yourself, honoring your needs, and living with intention. Let's begin. I am so glad to be back. It's been a couple weeks and I love vacations, love them to death, but it does throw me off of my rhythm a little bit. So it's good to be back and to be back here on the podcast, Empowered Now, with you. Take a deep breath. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing right now, maybe you're driving, maybe you're listening to this as you're folding laundry or, doing pickup with the kids, running around, cooking dinner. Maybe you're headed to work, on your way back from work. Wherever you are, I just want you to take a moment to take a deep breath. Breathe with me. And let it go. Oh, that feels good. I'm going to do it again. Ready? We live in such a fast-paced world. So many buttons, so many bells and whistles, so many things to look at, to listen to witness, to be entertained with. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate that you are here listening to Empowered Now. Listening to my voice. Of all the things that you could be listening to, all the people you could be listening to, the music, whatever it is, and you are here. And what that tells me is that your soul is seeking some peace, some respite, some reminders that you are whole and that everything that you do is secondary to that knowledge. That you are whole, that you are wonderful, that you are beautifully made, and you are worth it. That feels good. Doesn't that feel good? That's what I want you to feel when you come here on Empowered Now. We talk a lot about emotions and self-abandonment and boundaries and all of these big words and all of these ideas. But why we do that here, why I've created this space, this platform to be able to do that on, is because you matter. Because there's something deep within you that may be starting to remember how important you are and how you are meant to live a big, glorious, wonderful life. That all of those dreams that you think about doing that are just kind of on your brain sometimes or on your heart, oh, wouldn't that be cool? Wow, wouldn't that be amazing if, oh, man, I wish I could. All those big, beautiful dreams are yours. You deserve them. Just because you're here, just because you're alive, just because you're you, especially because you're you. Those deep desires and dreams weren't planted in your heart because you weren't meant for them. You were meant for them. That's why they're there. They are yours. And that's why you're here. Because the things you will hear on this podcast with me and with the guests that I have on periodically, it's all here for you to be able to facilitate you in creating your beautiful life. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not a victim of the body that you're in. You're not a victim of the things that have happened to you or the people that have hurt you. Yes, you have been hurt. Yes, there is pain. And yes, you have suffered. But you are here and you are alive and you are thriving because you are still here. maybe you're thinking to yourself, I'm not thriving, but that's why you're here, because that's what we do on Empowered Now, is we remind you of your wholeness and we uncover all of the limiting beliefs. Well, we don't uncover all of them, but we bring awareness to them. That's what I do with clients, is we work very intentionally to go deep and uncover those beliefs, uncover those patterns, uncover the things that are holding you back from living your best, most beautiful life. If you can hear my kids, it's because it's after school and they're all coming home, and it's one of the most beautiful times for me to be able to be home with my kids. And I wasn't going to record today, but I thought, you know what, there's just things on my heart that I feel that there is someone out there that needs to hear, and maybe that's you. So please sit back, relax, take that deep breath, and be filled, because you're worth it. You're worth it. All right, today I was thinking a lot about the days in my life that were very dark for me. And I call it the dark night of the soul years, because there were some years in there that were very hard for me, very difficult. We have a family vlog channel, and we've have several businesses that are attached to that and not attached to that. We have, I'm talking about my husband and my family and I. And, I went through a period of time where all of the things that I was working towards and chasing after and trying to accomplish, it felt like, wow, stuff is happening and this is amazing. And yet there was a part of me that felt that negativity kind of pulling me down, that fear, the anxiety, the overwhelm that you might be feeling some of in your life right now. Feeling like a victim in some ways, not being able to accomplish all of the things that my brain told me I needed to get done. For some reason, I have to get everything done in order to be okay, or in order to be worthy. There's so many limiting beliefs that we attach ourselves to. And I was thinking about this time in my life when all of these limiting beliefs and these fears were kind of coming to like a volcano, where it's like it's all coming to the surface, it's all coming to the surface. Oh my gosh, and it's gonna explode, and oh my gosh, my life. It really felt like that. And even though it was such a difficult, challenging, scary time, and I truly felt like I didn't know how I was going to get out of it, I didn't know if I would make it out alive. Emotionally, I was so overburdened with fear, guilt, anxiety, shame, that I truly felt like I didn't know if I'd make it out alive. And then fast forwarding today, it was such a scary time. And there's still a voice in me that's like, hey, we don't need to be dramatic. We don't need to scare people. But that is the reality of it. And I know that I'm not the only one, but in that time, I felt so alone. I felt isolated from everyone. I felt like nobody understands me. Nobody knows what this feels like. Nobody knows what I'm going through. And it was a lie. And I hope that if you are feeling that way today, if you are noticing those feelings inside of yourself, that you feel that you're alone and that nobody understands you, trust that you are not alone. Trust that these human emotions that you're feeling that feel so overwhelming and terrible to you have been felt by so many and are being felt by so many right now. And you may not believe me when I tell you this, but I wouldn't trade that time in my life feeling all of those things for anything, because it was those heavy emotions. It was that time in my life that was so, so difficult that finally made me choose a different way. It finally made me wake up and say, I don't want to live like this. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to think like this. And that's when I was able to begin my journey of transformation. And fast forward to today, I don't feel those emotions as intensely as I did back then. And sometimes I feel like I try to explain something and my brain's like, no, that's not the right way to do it. Limiting belief. I acknowledge it. I see it. I witness it. But I feel for you because I've been there and I get it. And I hope that you'll know that you're not alone. And I hope that you know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is a glorious day awaiting you where you will feel peace, joy, confidence, contentment, elatedness. You will feel the feelings that feel so far away from you now. And that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you with that. So I'm just going to leave you with a couple thoughts today that have been on my mind as I've been thinking about the woman that I was, all those years ago, because those feelings were so strong for me. And now the confidence and the strength that I have, the emotional resilience that I have today, I wouldn't trade for anything. And I don't say that to make you feel like, oh, good for you, you're great, and you're not in that anymore, because I understand how painful it is to be stuck and feel like you're stuck. But I want to tell you, you're not stuck. You have the power to change your life, to change your wiring, to change your coding in your body, in your mind, and life gets to be good for you. So here's a couple thoughts today, just a couple that might help you on your road to emotional resilience. The first thought I had was that one of the things that I used to do so much was that I rejected certain parts of me. Like the certain emotions that I was like, I don't want to feel that. I'm not going there. And so I would practice positivity or, toxic positivity. One of our slogans from our family channel is that happiness is a choice, which it is. But what I didn't realize was that sometimes I would use happiness as a choice to bring myself into a fake positivity where it was exhausting. There was exhaustion underneath it. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you remember that feeling? Do you feel that feeling ever? Have you ever felt that feeling of like, I'm fine? I mean, that's like the classic, I'm fine. Everything's fine. We're good. Everything's fine. No problems. And sometimes that can be genuine, right? But sometimes we're just trying to glaze over whatever's underneath that we don't want to feel, whatever's there that is uncomfortable. We're just trying to put a nice coating of frosting over it so nobody notices, or we don't have to notice it. We don't have to acknowledge it. That will keep you stuck. That's one of the methods that will keep you stuck. And so my thought for you today, and my invitation for you today, if that's something that you have experienced or you're doing in your life, is let's stop labeling emotions as good or bad. Let's stop pretending that we're not human and that we don't feel. Let's stop thinking that we are bad for feeling. And, this can come from our upbringing. It can come from just thoughts that we've held on to, like beliefs that we've heard that we're like, oh yeah, I don't want to feel that, or I can't feel that, or it's wrong to be angry, which was one of mine. Or, men don't cry, men don't feel sadness or fear, or, there's a lot of societal reasons. There's a lot of personal reasons why we grab onto this idea that certain emotions are bad, and that we shouldn't feel certain emotions, that we shouldn't show certain emotions. And it's just a lie. It's just a lie. We're human. We're meant to feel the full range of our human experience. And what happens when we prevent ourselves from feeling is that we'll go numb, which is an option. Depression isn't like a deep sadness. Depression is numbness because we're cutting off certain parts of ourselves. We're cutting off feeling. And I get it because it feels scary. And then we want to cut off fear because we don't want to feel scared, right? But it's a lie that some emotions are bad and some are good. They're all just energy. They're all just frequency that needs to flow through our human bodies because our bodies are made of energy and frequency and matter, and we feel. It's just what we do. So can we question and put pressure on those limiting, that's not the word I was looking for, but challenge. We can challenge those limiting beliefs that we have developed that make us think we are bad for feeling certain emotions and that certain emotions shouldn't be felt because they're all meant to be felt. So that's the number one tip for you to let's just explore that. Let's explore that. The second tip is let's respect, not reject. Okay. This goes for emotions. This goes for who we are. Because often this deep darkness that happens within us is because we are trying to reject parts of ourselves. We're judging ourselves. We are picking ourselves apart every dang day over our bodies, over our personality, over the way we show up in the world, over our skills, over our habits. We're just picking ourselves apart. And it's causing the problem. It's part of the problem. And you may also have somebody in your life that is also picking you apart. Yeah, you feel me? That is painful. But you've got to be the one to change it first. You can't wait or try to defend or explain or help make somebody else understand how they're hurting you. You've got to change something. It's your job to keep you safe and to take care of yourself first. Yes, your relationships, the people in your world, we want to curate who we're putting in our bubbles so that they also respect us. But the way you do that is that you start with you. Respect, don't reject. Okay? So if there are parts of you that you don't like, start to, don't jump to a toxic positivity of like, oh, I love my body when you're like, oh, I actually hate it, right? Just start respecting it. Start acknowledging what it's doing for you. Look at the glass half full instead of half empty. Start acknowledging, I like that my body gets me out of bed. I'm grateful it's healthy. Just start by learning to change the voice in your brain from rejection to respect. Okay? That goes in every area. We can just throw that respect blanket over every part of our bodies, our minds, our souls, our lives. Okay? That's important because I know for me, when I was in my deep darkness of the soul, there was so much self-rejection. So much. I didn't even realize I had it. I had all these ideas and these ways I would talk to myself from childhood, reading magazines, looking at how skinny those photoshopped girls were and thinking I had to look that way. Limiting belief developed. I'm not skinny enough. Now we're rejecting our body, right? This was me. Happens every day, like hundreds of times a day. I don't know where that accent came from. Respect, don't reject. Have we done that one enough? Okay. The third idea that I had, stories. We create so many stories about ourselves, about other people in our life, about what it means. Okay, humans are meaning-making machines. We make everything mean something. Okay, and here's where I'm going with this. Is that emotions, I talked about emotions being energy, just frequency. When we're feeling an emotion, And now it's like, oh my gosh, the anger is here. If we start to go into a story about the anger, or if, like the story would be like, oh my gosh, he makes me so angry. And I am, okay, what's a better one? That's not helping. It's always a debate on whether the thought creates the emotion or the emotion then brings in the thoughts. I feel like it goes both ways. But the truth is that when we mesh those two together and we can't differentiate, then that's what creates more suffering. It creates looping. It creates emotions to get stuck in the body, and then we can't process them. So here's a scenario that I, experienced in my life during those dark days of the soul. My husband struggled with addiction. And so I was stressed out, first of all, because I was also codependent, where I felt like, oh, I need to fix him. That's funny. If you're thinking, oh, I think I can fix people, you're in the right place, okay? Because I got you. I've been there. Okay. Oh, I can help him. I can fix him. Like maybe if I do this, then he'll stop doing that. Maybe if I am this wonderful being, he'll stop doing this, or he'll stop being addicted, or he'll stop, No, it is a lie. Don't do it. Don't fall into the trap of attaching yourself to somebody else's behavior, somebody else's thoughts, somebody else's actions. And it goes the same with our emotions, okay? Learning to detach from the story, from it meaning anything about you. I used to think, oh, that means that I'm not good enough if he's not doing this. And, saying it out loud, I realize it sounds ridiculous, but that's what we do in our brains. It's like that small, young part of ourselves that grabs onto this simple belief, and then we run with it. We our programming is programmed around that thought. It's happening. It's happening right now. To you, to me. But when you can acknowledge, okay, I'm feeling an emotion, or I'm in a thought loop in my head. This is anxiety. You have anxiety? Uh-huh. Okay, very familiar friend of mine, anxiety. Anxiety can just run rampant if you are not acknowledging that there's a story running in your brain. Okay? So okay, garage door's opening. I know you can hear it. That's okay. We're just going to keep going because I feel like my ADHD is all over the place and I need to bring it back home. Okay? This is part of what I'm dealing with, and it's okay. It's part of me. Okay, so the story. The story is what's causing the suffering, guys. So here's a really simple example. Say that, because I have teenagers. That's so hard sometimes. Say my teenager is like, okay, so Brock the other night, right? He's like, okay, I'm going to be out a little bit past curfew. Is that okay? We're going to a movie and then I'm going to take my friend home. And I'm like, okay, that's okay. And then he texts me halfway through the movie and he's like, my phone is going to die. And he said, my phone might die, but I will be home 15 after or whatever. And I was like, okay. And Brock's really good about being on time and he cares a lot. So that's why he's checking in with me. He's very good at doing that. So I was like, okay. But then I could see where his location was and then his phone died and I could tell his phone died because it turned off or he turned it off, right? This is what we do as parents where now we're investigating okay, what is actually happening? And now my brain is okay, what if this and what if that and what if that and now I'm getting anxiety, right? That's where this comes from. Or our story can wreak havoc on our nervous system because now we're creating this scenario and oh my gosh, and what if this and what if that? And then he walks in the door 15 after, hey, I'm home, the movie was great and everything's fine, right? Do you see what I'm saying? The story can create the suffering. Now you're asking me, what if the story's true? What if the story is actually happening? What if you can see your emotions as neutral, and if you can see life as, you know what, life is just happening, life is lifing, we're going to see it as neutral. Now you can handle whatever story comes to you, whatever truth is in the story, because you're able to be with your emotions. You're able to be with yourself because you know you can handle it. And this is something that is practiced. It's not something that just happens, but it's something that you practice. You practice being with your emotions, witnessing them, practice not labeling them as bad or good, but just, okay, well, here's an experience. Here's a human experience. I can do this. So much power when we can remove the judgment, the labels, when we can take the story and let it be what it is. You know, say bad things really did happen. Me worrying about it and creating the story about it isn't going to prevent it from happening. It's also me creating meaning about the story. Oh no, this is happening and that means this about me. You know, oh, my husband's struggling with alcoholism and that means that I'm not good enough. Right? Like, that's the kind of stuff that we do when we let the story run. So learning to witness the story. Oh, I'm telling myself, you know, what am I making this mean? What am I telling myself about this? Interesting. Learn to be an investigator in your own life, to be able to detach and stop creating so much pain for yourself. Okay? That skill, that practicing in my own life during those dark days was such an incredible shift for me. It allowed me to be in a painful situation with painful things happening, and I was strong. I felt this power within me because I wasn't beating myself up anymore. I wasn't cutting off my emotions. I was just letting myself be in my human experience. And then you're able to create, or you're able to choose the action of what you're going to do about it. Instead of just letting your emotions and your story run away with you, and then you start reacting, then you're not reacting anymore because you're present. You're present with all of it. I'm here. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what I'm feeling. And here I am. Okay? I don't need to make a story about it. I don't need to cause myself extra suffering. But what I can do is, now that I'm here and I see what I'm experiencing and I feel what I'm feeling, what do I want to choose next? It's so freaking simple, yet so powerful. That's when you can take aligned, intentional action in your life. You can choose the boundaries that you need to choose. You can take the steps you need to take because you know you can handle it, because you know that you'll feel the emotions you need to feel and that you're okay, because you've kept the story in check about what it means about you. You're not making it mean that you're going to die, or that you're going to be destroyed, or that you're not good enough, or that, you know, somebody else is obviously better than I am. No, that story is not there anymore because you're learning to witness it. You're learning to reframe it. You're learning to change it. Oh, there's so much packed in here, guys. This is good stuff. If any of these things that we've talked about have sparked something in you, you're like, whoa, I want to know more about this. Message me, please. DM me. Go to my website. I have all the links in my description. I have all the links in my bios on TikTok and Instagram. I am here for you. Apply for my coaching. Apply. I've got several offers right now that are just for private clients who have applied, who are looking. And this is life-changing stuff, you guys. And I will tell you, when I was going through the darkest nights of my soul, the darkest days, I thrived when I learned to stop doing it alone. That's where the real change happened for me. I stopped trying to do it alone. So if you're alone in all of these things and you've been trying, you've been reading all the books, you've been, working on all the worksheets and all the things and trying all the different things for yourself, maybe it's time you had some help. Maybe it's time you had a conversation with another human being that can help you. Okay? And if this message has landed for you, please message me. I'm here for you. Okay. I love you. I'm here for you. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Before you go, take a deep breath. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just stay connected to yourself one moment at a time. You've got this. I've got your back, and I'll see you next time.